Jonah Hex adjusted the brim of his hat as he surveyed the tranquil orchards of Verdantia, his home planet's air filled with the scent of blooming zephyr lilies. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow that belied the calm before a storm. As he tucked a stray vine into the trellis, his mind wandered, not for the first time, to the legends his grandmother used to tell him about Earth's ancient protectors and monsters. Little did he know, his own life was about to intersect with such tales from his distant ancestral home. "You really should sell these lilies off-world, Jonah. They'd fetch a fortune on the central systems," called out Mara, his neighbor and closest friend on Verdantia, as she approached through the rows of flowers. Jonah chuckled, straightening up. "And deal with the council's tariffs? I'd rather enjoy the peace here. Besides, what would I do with a fortune?" Mara grinned, handing him a freshly picked fruit. "Maybe finally fix that old sky skiff of yours. Or better yet, take a vacation. See the galaxy. See the galaxy, huh? And leave all this behind?" He gestured broadly at the sprawling orchard. "Not in this lifetime. This is my paradise right here." Their laughter was cut short by a sudden, sharp whir from above, a sound foreign to the quiet evening. They looked up to see a sleek, dark silhouette descending rapidly from the sky. It was a Galactic Council ship, its presence as incongruous as a shark in a pond. "Council business on Verdantia? That can't be good," Mara murmured, her face suddenly serious. Jonah felt a chill run down his spine. "Let's see what they want first. No point in borrowing trouble." As the ship landed and the dust settled, a figure clad in the uniform of the Galactic Council disembarked, a Zaltraxian commander by the look of his insignia, flanked by two robotic enforcers. The commander's eyes scanned the area before settling on Jonah. "Are you Jonah Hex?" he demanded, his voice carrying the cold authority that came with his rank. "Yes, I am. What brings the council to my home?" Jonah's voice was steady, but his mind raced. The commander stepped forward, the enforcers following like shadows. "Jonah Hex, you are under suspicion of violating several interstellar treaties. You will come with us to the Spire for questioning." "Suspicion? I don't even leave Verdantia. There's been some mistake," Jonah protested, glancing at Mara, whose worry was evident. "I'm afraid there's no mistake. Your compliance is not optional." The commander made a subtle nod, and the enforcers advanced. Jonah stood his ground. "I insist on knowing what treaties I'm accused of breaking. I have rights under the council laws." The commander sighed, as if the matter was a tedious chore. "Very well. You are accused of harboring and using forbidden ancient Earth technologies. These are serious charges, Mr. Hex." "Forbidden technologies? I'm just a farmer." Jonah's bewilderment was genuine, but the accusation sparked a memory, old tales of Earth's powers and protectors. Seeing the situation escalating, Mara stepped forward. "There must be some way to sort this out here. Can't we verify his innocence before dragging him off-planet?" The commander considered her briefly, then shook his head. "The law is clear. He must be taken to the Spire. Prepare for detainment." As the enforcers moved to restrain him, a sudden, unbidden surge of adrenaline, or something far more ancient, coursed through Jonah's veins. Instinctively, he reached out, and the ground beneath the enforcers rippled like water, knocking them off balance. "What the?" The commander stepped back, startled, as the earth settled back to normal. Jonah looked at his hands, shock etched across his face. The tales weren't just stories, they were his heritage. "I didn't know I could do that," he whispered, more to himself than to anyone else. Mara, quick to recover, grabbed Jonah's arm. "Run!" Without fully understanding his actions, Jonah fled, the commander's shouts fading behind him. As they disappeared into the orchard, Jonah's mind raced. Ancient Earth technologies? Forbidden powers? He was no criminal, but clearly, something far larger than him was at play. As they found temporary shelter beneath the dense foliage, Mara panted. "Jonah, what was that? What are you?" Jonah shook his head, his previous life as a simple farmer seeming like a distant dream. "I honestly don't know, Mara. But I intend to find out. From the shadows of the orchard, with the stars beginning to pepper the night sky, Jonah knew his journey had just begun. No longer could he cling to the simplicity of his past. The Galactic Council had made a grave mistake, awakening something within him, a power tied to his lineage, to the Baba Yaga of ancient Earth, feared and revered as a guardian and a destroyer. Whatever I am, whatever I'm capable of, it's clear I can't stay here, Jonah said, more determined than ever. I need to clear my name and uncover the truth about these powers. Mara nodded, her resolve matching his. Then we'll go together. To the spire, to the heart of the council. We'll find your answers, Jonah. And they'll see they've made a mistake attacking the wrong man. The night deepened around them as they planned their next move, unaware that far above, the commander reported the incident, his message clear. The target has manifested unknown abilities. Immediate reinforcement required. The Baba Yaga may be more than just a myth. Thus, Jonah's quest to confront his destiny and unveil the mysteries of his bloodline began, against the backdrop of a universe that would soon learn to either fear or revere the name of Baba Yaga. Jonah and Mara dashed through the dense underbrush of Verdantia, their breath ragged as they put distance between themselves and the Galactic Council's enforcers. As they ran, the reality of Jonah's situation settled in like a cold weight, accused and on the run, with powers he didn't understand. Jonah, we need a plan, Mara gasped, slowing down as they reached a secluded grove, hidden from any prying eyes by thick, hanging moss. Jonah leaned against a tree, his mind racing. First, we need information. I need to understand what I did back there, what I can do. And we need to figure out why the council is so interested in me. Mara nodded, pulling out a small, handheld device from her pocket. I'll try to access the local net, see if there are any public records about these forbidden technologies they mentioned. Maybe there's a clue there. As Mara worked on her device, Jonah's thoughts wandered to his grandmother's stories, the legends of Baba Yaga. Could it be that those were not just tales to awe young children but actual histories of his ancestors? He remembered the vivid descriptions of Baba Yaga's control over the elements, something he had just unwittingly mimicked. Mara, look at this, Jonah suddenly spoke, taking the device from her hands. His finger hovered over an article detailing ancient Earth artifacts recently discovered and declared off-limits by the Galactic Council. The artifacts were said to possess unpredictable powers, linked to old Earth mythology. That's got to be it, Mara said, her eyes wide. They think you're connected to these artifacts. But how? And why now? It's my heritage, Jonah said slowly, the pieces falling into place. The Baba Yaga, my ancestors, must have been guardians of these artifacts, or maybe they were the artifacts themselves, transformed into legend. But that doesn't give them the right to hunt you down, Mara argued. We need to clear your name. And the only way to do that is to go to the spire, confront the council. Jonah knew she was right. We'll need help. I can't just walk into the spire looking like this. He glanced down at his simple farmer's attire, stained with soil and sweat. Leave that to me, Mara said, a smirk playing on her lips. She contacted a few trusted friends with ties to the black markets and underground networks. We'll get you a disguise, new identities, whatever it takes. But we have to be careful. The council isn't known for its mercy or its mistakes. They spent the next hours planning their journey to the spire, the heart of the Galactic Council's power. Jonah practiced focusing his newfound abilities, trying to bend the Earth to his will without losing control. Meanwhile, Mara secured them safe passage on a freighter heading off-world, her contacts proving both loyal and efficient. Days later, disguised as merchants, they boarded the freighter. The journey through space was tense, each star that whisked past the freighter a reminder of the distance Jonah was putting between himself and his old life. Mara spent the time deep in research, piecing together every scrap of information she could find about the council's operations and the specific counselors who might be sympathetic to their cause. As they neared the spire, Jonah's anxiety grew. The space station loomed ahead, a vast fortress of metal and glass orbiting a dying star, its silhouette sprawling against the backdrop of the cosmos. Once we're in, we stick to the plan, Mara reminded him as they prepared to dock. We find Eliana. She's the historian who's been researching Earth's myths for the Council. If anyone inside the spire can help us, it's her. And if we can't find her? Jonah asked, the weight of their mission pressing down on him. Then we improvise, Mara said, her determination fierce. We're in this together, Jonah. No matter what happens. The docking bay doors opened with a hiss, revealing the bustling interior of the spire. Jonah stepped into the heart of the Galactic Council, a fugitive cloaked in disguise, ready to confront his destiny head-on. As they melded into the flow of aliens and humans, Mara leaned close, her voice barely a whisper. Welcome to the belly of the beast, Jonah. Let's go find your historian. Together, they ventured deeper into the spire, each step taking Jonah further from his past as a simple farmer and deeper into the tangled web of his ancestors' legacy. What lay ahead was unknown, but Jonah Hex, descendant of Baba Yaga, would face it head-on, ready to challenge the cosmos for his right to exist as both man and myth. Inside the spire, the air buzzed with the electric hum of commerce and diplomacy. Jonah, cloaked in the guise of a merchant, felt every eye that glanced his way, though he knew it was just his nerves. Mara led confidently, navigating the throngs with an ease born of years living on the fringe of the galaxy's most diverse cultures. They made their way to the lower levels where the archives and academic sectors hummed with the quiet intensity of research and discovery. Here, amongst the scrolls of ancient civilizations and data stacks that reached the ceilings, was Eliana, the historian whose life's work might hold the key to Jonah's predicament. As they approached her office, Jonah felt a surge of the mysterious power within him pulse at the proximity of so much historical knowledge. He paused, the sensation overwhelming. Jonah, are you all right? Mara asked, noticing his hesitation. It's nothing. Just a feeling. Let's keep going. They found Eliana in her office, surrounded by holograms of ancient artifacts and dusty tomes. She looked up, her eyes narrowing in curiosity at the sight of her visitors. Can I help you? She inquired, her tone polite but guarded. Mara stepped forward. Dr. Eliana, we've come a long way to see you. We have questions about the Baba Yaga artifacts. And we believe you have the answers. Eliana's interest piqued, she gestured for them to sit. The Baba Yaga, you say? That's a legend that has seen renewed interest lately. Why the sudden curiosity? Jonah took a deep breath, deciding to trust her. Because, Dr. Eliana, I believe I'm connected to those legends. The Council thinks I'm using forbidden technologies because of things I can do, things I don't fully understand. Eliana studied him, a slow smile forming as if a puzzle piece had fallen into place in her mind. You're the one they're hunting. The man with unexplained powers. You know, I thought those were just rumors, but here you are. Yes, and I need to understand why. Can you help me? Eliana turned to her console, her fingers dancing over the holographic keys, pulling up ancient manuscripts and celestial maps. The Baba Yaga was more than just a tale to scare children. My research suggests that it was a title, a mantle passed down through generations, associated with guardianship and control over natural elements. If you are indeed a descendant, that might explain your abilities. Jonah listened, fascinated and horrified in equal measure. And these artifacts the Council is so afraid of? They were tools, powerful and ancient, believed to augment the bearer's abilities. If the Council thinks you can access these artifacts' powers, that would make you very dangerous in their eyes. Mara interjected. So they attack first and ask questions later? We need to clear his name, Dr. Eliana. We need proof that he isn't a threat. Eliana nodded, her expression turning serious. I may have something. There's an ancient site, one I believe was a stronghold for the Baba Yaga lineage. If we can get there, find evidence of Jonah's heritage and its purpose, we might be able to convince the Council of his innocence. But the site is heavily guarded by the Council, isn't it? Jonah guessed, his new instincts tuning into the risks. Yes, and rightfully so. The powers contained within are not to be taken lightly. But I have access. I can get us there. Jonah and Mara exchanged a look. This was the break they needed, but the danger was palpable. We do this together then, Mara said, her voice resolute. When do we leave? Immediately. Time is not on our side, especially if they're actively hunting you, Eliana replied, standing up to gather a few essential items. As they prepared to leave, Jonah felt the weight of his ancestry, not just as a burden now, but as a beacon guiding him towards his destiny. The journey to the ancient site was risky, but it held the key to his past and potentially his freedom. Eliana led them through the quieter corridors of the spire, towards a private docking bay. We'll use my ship. It's not registered for this kind of trip, so it should help us avoid any unwanted attention. Jonah looked back once at the bustling life within the spire. If they succeeded, he could return one day not as a fugitive, but as a vindicated man. With a deep breath, he turned his face towards the future, towards uncovering the secrets of the Baba Yaga, ready to confront whatever truths lay buried in the stars. Jonah, Mara, and Eliana traveled through the starlit void towards the ancient site, a journey that took them beyond familiar star systems into uncharted territories where the legend of Baba Yaga whispered through the cosmos. The tension among them was palpable. Each was aware of the stakes should they fail, not just for Jonah but potentially for the broader galaxy if the Council's fears were founded. As they approached their destination, the ship's sensors began to chirp, signaling proximity to the ancient stronghold rumored to contain relics of the Baba Yaga. Eliana piloted the vessel towards a hidden asteroid field, where the stronghold was cleverly disguised among the celestial debris. According to the legends, this place was a sanctuary and a bastion for the Baba Yaga, Eliana explained, her eyes never leaving the controls as she maneuvered through the dense asteroid field. It's shielded by a cloaking device, remnants of the old tech. That's why it stayed hidden for so long. Jonah felt the ship descend into the shadow of a particularly large asteroid, the stronghold finally coming into view, a massive structure carved directly into the rock, its entrance sealed with a door adorned with ancient runes. We're here, Eliana announced as she set the ship down on a flat expanse near the entrance. This is where we find your answers, Jonah. Exiting the ship, the trio approached the entrance. Jonah reached out, feeling a hum of energy pulsating from the door, resonating strangely with something within him. Looks like it recognizes you, or at least your lineage, Mara commented, watching as the door slowly began to open, revealing a dark corridor that led deep into the asteroid. The corridor was lined with statues of ancient Earth figures, each representing different aspects of the Baba Yaga mythology. Jonah felt a deep connection to these statues, as if each one held a part of the story he was meant to discover. This place is a history book in stone, Mara whispered, her torch casting eerie shadows on the walls. They reached a central chamber where artifacts were displayed like treasures of a long-lost kingdom. At the center, a pedestal held a small, unassuming crystal that pulsed with a gentle light. That's it, Eliana said softly. That's the heart of the Baba Yaga's power. The legends say it's a source of great energy, capable of altering reality itself. Jonah stepped forward, drawn to the crystal. As his hand touched it, a surge of power flooded through him, visions of ancient Earth, battles fought with powers drawn from the very essence of the planet, and whispers of the Baba Yaga who had wielded this power before him. The Council fears this power because they don't understand it, Jonah realized aloud. They think it's a weapon, but it's a tool, one that requires understanding and respect. We need to show them, not just tell them, Mara said, stepping beside him. We have to prove that you can control this power for good. With a new resolve, Jonah focused, channeling the energy through his body, feeling it respond to his intentions. The room lit up, the statues seeming to approve as the power was used not for destruction, but for creation, restoring parts of the stronghold that had crumbled to dust ages ago. This is what I was meant to do, Jonah declared, a sense of peace settling over him. To protect and preserve, not to conquer. Eliana nodded, recording everything on her device. This will be our evidence. We'll show the Council the true nature of the Baba Yaga's legacy. Their return to the spire was urgent but cautious. Jonah practiced his control over the newfound abilities, determined to demonstrate his mastery and his benign intentions. Mara and Eliana prepared the presentation of their findings, compiling evidence and testimonials from their journey. Upon arrival, the trio was met with suspicion, but the evidence of Jonah's control over the power, and the historical context Eliana provided, gradually turned skepticism into amazement. Counselor Narek, who had initially pushed for Jonah's apprehension, stood in the council chamber, his previous assurances of danger now undercut by the display of peace and restoration. Members of the council, Jonah addressed the assembly, his voice steady and clear. You feared what you did not understand. But the power of the Baba Yaga is not a curse or a weapon, it's a gift, meant to safeguard and renew. Let me use it for the good of all. The chamber was silent as the council deliberated, the weight of history and the future hanging in the balance. Finally, the head of the council stood, his expression solemn yet hopeful. Jonah Hex, you have shown us not only the power of your heritage, but the strength of your character. The council withdraws its charges and extends its gratitude for your patience and your willingness to enlighten us. As applause echoed through the chamber, Jonah, Mara, and Eliana exchanged relieved smiles. The legacy of the Baba Yaga would continue, not as a tale of fear, but as a story of understanding and respect across the stars. Jonah, now standing in the chambers of the Galactic Council, could scarcely believe the turnaround. From fugitive to a respected guardian of ancient power, the journey had transformed not just his life but also his identity. He addressed the assembly, his voice resonant and imbued with the gravitas of his newfound role. Ladies and gentlemen of the Council, and beings of the Galactic Union, Jonah began, his tone both humble and assertive. Today marks a pivotal moment not only in my life but in the history of our interactions with the powers of the universe, which many of you have feared and misunderstood for too long. Eliana stood by his side, her eyes gleaming with pride and relief. She had seen Jonah transform from a confused and scared individual into a beacon of hope and understanding. Mara, ever the strategist, watched the council members, gauging their reactions and ready to step in should the need arise. I stand before you not as a harbinger of destruction but as a testament to the potential for coexistence and growth. The powers I hold, passed down through generations from the ancient earth lineage of the Baba Yaga, are a gift. They are not meant to bring ruin but to foster renewal and protect life. Jonah continued, his gaze steady and unwavering. A murmur went through the crowd, a mix of skepticism and intrigue. Counselor Narek, who had once spearheaded the charge against Jonah, now wore a complex expression, his earlier certainty shaken by the undeniable evidence of Jonah's control and intentions. Jonah lifted his hands, palms outwards, a gesture of peace and transparency. I propose a partnership, one where we explore the capabilities of these ancient powers together, ensuring they are used for the betterment of all civilizations within this council. Mara stepped forward, her voice cutting through the chamber with clarity and force. We have seen what fear can do. It nearly led to an innocent man's persecution, and could have deprived us of a powerful ally in our quest for knowledge and peace. Eliana added, the historical significance of what Jonah represents is immense. By studying his abilities and the artifacts connected to them, we can unlock new understanding of our own histories and perhaps discover new ways to solve the pressing issues facing our planets. The head of the council, a venerable old Tyrillian with a long record of diplomatic achievements, stood. His voice boomed across the chamber, carrying weight and authority. Jonah Hex has shown us a path forward that is not paved with fear but with mutual respect and potential for great enlightenment. It is the decision of this council to accept his offer. Jonah will work with our top scientists and historians to safeguard and study the power he wields. Cheers erupted in the chamber, and even some of the most doubtful members seemed relieved and hopeful. The decision was not just a victory for Jonah but a monumental shift in how the Galactic Council would handle unexplained phenomena and powers in the future. After the assembly, Jonah, Mara, and Eliana convened in a quieter part of the spire, overlooking the vast expanse of space. I never imagined any of this, Jonah said, his voice thick with emotion. From a farmer to this. Mara chuckled, punching him lightly on the arm. You're still a farmer, Jonah. Maybe now just a bit more cosmic. Eliana smiled, her mind already racing with plans and ideas. We have a lot of work ahead. documenting your abilities, understanding the artifacts, and setting up protocols for safe usage. Jonah looked out at the stars, his heart filled with a mixture of awe and resolve. Let's make sure we do this right. Not just for us, but for the future generations who will read our work and learn from it. The trio stood together in silence, united by their journey and the tasks ahead. The stars beyond seemed to twinkle a bit brighter, the universe itself watching in anticipation of what this new partnership might bring. As Jonah turned from the window, he felt a surge of energy from within, a reminder of his responsibilities and his connection to the ancient lineage he bore. With Mara's cunning and Eliana's wisdom by his side, he was ready to face whatever challenges came next, for he was no longer just Jonah Hex, the farmer. He was Jonah Hex, the guardian of Earth's most mysterious and powerful legacy. The Galactic Council would come to see him as a symbol of humanity's resilience and the potential for understanding the unknown. Together they stepped back into the halls of the Spire, ready to embark on this new chapter, where fear was replaced by curiosity, and the past's mysteries would light the way for a brighter, united future.